from the, just a second. So we are on Surah Ali Imran, and inshallah we will recite it from 64. قل يا أهل الكتاب.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا أهل الكتاب تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم ألا نعبد إلا الله ولا نشرك به شيئا ولا يتخذ بعضنا بعضا أربابا من دون الله فإن تولوا فقولوا اشهدوا بأننا مسلمون. يا أهل الكتاب لم تحاجون في إبراهيم وما أنزلت التوراة والإنجيل إلا من بعده أفلا تعقلون. ها أنتم هؤلاء حاججتم فيما لكم به علم فلم تحاجون فيما ليس لكم به علم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين. إن أولى الناس بإبراهيم للذين اتبعوه وهذا النبي والذين آمنوا والله ولي المؤمنين. ودت طائفة من أهل الكتاب لو يضلونكم وما يضلون إلا أنفسهم وما يشعرون. يا أهل الكتاب لم تكفرون بآيات الله وأنتم تشهدون. يا أهل الكتاب لم تلبسون الحق بالباطل وتكتمون الحق وأنتم تعلمون. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغ رسوله النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Faiz. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So this topic is being continued as we say that, just a little revision, that this Surah Ali Imran was revealed when a delegation from a southern part of Arabia called Najran had come to Medina and tried to, Mazallah, investigate about the teachings of Islam. And at that time, priest, the Christian priest, they would guard their secrets, what they would consider the secrets, very close to their chest. They would not reveal it to general people, and they would come and try to ask Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam those questions. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, told Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam how to, all these ayahs that were revealed in Surah Ali Imran. So that highlights who Isa alayhi salam was, who Zakaria alayhi salam was, what happened, how did the people plot it against Isa alayhi salam, what was the story of Bibi Maryam and the son of Hazrat Zakaria. So these were the accurate information that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, and cast out all the misconception or the misbeliefs that Christians had, such as Mazallah, that the Holy Trinity and all that. These were the ideas added much later in the Christianity. So if those people who want to engage in a dialogue with Christians and other people of scriptures, this is their guidance how to how to deal with Christians and Jews, because all the correct information that these Christians had so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala verified, and all the false information they had, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala corrected it, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is as mentioning, so this is قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ تَعَالُوا. So, oh, you book of people of book, you come. Ta'alu means come. Ila kalamatin sawa'in. So toward the one principle. Kalimat means one phrase or one kalima that is common between you and us, that we will not worship anybody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will not ascribe any partners or anybody, we will not accept anybody as Lord. So فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا فَقُولُوا أَشْهَدُ بِأَنَّا مُسْلِمِينَ. And if they turn their back, or they do not listen to you, or they do not follow you, so tell them that be witness that we are the one who have accepted what has been revealed with that. So it was nothing but the arrogance. Otherwise, you see that if you look at what happened, Ibrahim alayhi salam is mentioned. Ibrahim alayhi salam is also called the Abul Anbiya, the father of all the prophets. So the main branches that split was between the children of Ismail alayhi salam, which Westerners call it Ishmael alayhi salam. So they settled in what is now the Arabian Peninsula, and Ishaq alayhi salam, the second son of Ibrahim alayhi salam, they settled it. So all the Abrahamic religions like Christianity and Judaism emerged from Ishaq alayhi salam. And in this process, Isa alayhi salam, whenever he mentioned to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, my Lord and your Lord. So that means my Rabb and your Rabb. He never, Ma'azallah, mentioned that, I'm son of. This was an idea that has been borrowed from Greek mythology and to some part, Roman mythology, because they had the concept of Zeus being the father and son and all that. So the Greco-Latin, mythology was very much based on, their concept of divinity was, they were very ordinary people. They had families, they had wives, their children, and that was borrowed. And as I said in the previous thing, that was started by none but a person called Paul. Otherwise, the early Christians, they did not have that concept of Trinity. It was added by Paul. So Isa alayhi salam, when he came to Bani Israel, he was an exclusive prophet toward the Bani Israel. Like his teachings were not for the general people. It was like all the prophets that had come. So they mean a message. So Paul, on the other hand, what he did, he first said that, those things that they were outlawed for Jews for consuming, like eating pork. He said that, it has been. Paul, what he did, he started with idea that during his lifetime, he was not a contemporary of Isa alayhi salam, but what he mentioned that at that time Roman had taken control of what is now it is Palestine, and there were revolts after revolt from the Jewish people toward the Roman Empire. And in 70 AD, what happened? Romans sent a large army and they crushed the rebellion and killed the bulk of the Jewish population. And what they did, they destroyed the temple for the second time. First time the temple was destroyed, this called Haikal-e-Sulamani, was first destroyed by Bakht Nasr, the Babylonian king. He came and ransacked the whole city of Jerusalem and kill a large number of them, like in thousands, and enslave a large number of them, and took like all the people all to Babylon. And among that, he had taken Hazrat Daniel alayhi salam, the prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to that. And after that, Uzair alayhi salam came and all that. And finally, when Persians, they attacked Babylon, that weakened the power of Bakht Nasr, and finally the Jews were freed from there. But in 70, Romans, they again came with a vengeance and they destroyed them. But in 333, the first Rome, that was the early Romans, that in earlier Romans, they used to prosecute Jews or the early Christians. So Christianity, when it first emerged, it emerged as a sect of Judaism. It did not have the idea, because Isa alayhi salam initially had come as a prophet for Bani Israel. Like our Lord Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was not a kafatun nas, or like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, "Ama arsalnaka illa rahmatan lil alamin." I have sent you mercy to the all the mankind, or all the worlds. That means all the different societies, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam teachings and rahmat would reach there. But some prophets, they were exclusively for their tribes and their people. So that was the case with Isa alayhi salam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent him the men. And when this delegation from Najran came, that was being spearheaded by two of their priests. And there was a large delegation of 70 people almost. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam met this delegation with very open arm, with a generosity and all that. So such as the hospitality of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when the time came for their prayers, so they started becoming anxious that what we do, we do not have any place to worship. They had come. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam offered them to pray in the Masjid al-Nabawi. So such was the tolerance level of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that they came, and it was the time, so Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam offered. So they did pray in that. But they started arguing unnecessarily. And when they think, so finally Nabi Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them that to do the mubahala, and says that if I'm not telling the truth, Allah's lanat should come to the person who's not telling the truth. So initially this two priests, they agreed that okay, we will do the mubahala. Mubahala means to curse the person who's telling the lie. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that okay, I will bring my family. So he brought Hazrat Ali, Bibi Fatima, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain, and he had a big cloak. So he covered all of them and brought it to the place of mubahala. And when Sahaba Ikram, Abu Bakr Siddiqui and Umar Farooq saw that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam taking his family for mubahala, So they also joined because they were also family. They were the father-in-law of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So first, initially, they wanted to do the mubahala. They said, okay, anybody, they will pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's lying, Allah. So one of them, the priest, came say that he got scared and said that, do not do that. If you do that and Prophet curse you, all of you will become monkeys. So just like it happened in the previous time in the Bani Israel, that when Bani Israel was told not to fish on Saturday, what they would do, they will go on Friday, they will set up the nets, they will not fish on Saturday, and Sunday they will come and pull the nets. So Allah's wrath came on them, and all of them, they turn into monkeys or apes. So one of the priests point out that they do not do that. So they, actually, they were prepared to do that mubahala, but after that, they back. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is continuing this. So this is a proper, a very detailed guidance for Muslims that if we ever want to, engage with Christians, how we should do that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, do not, this is a common thing. Like if you ever want to, during the interfaith meeting, if you want, so common thing would be that they are also called the, monothesis, that, they believe in one God, but they have added Trinity to it. Some sects of Christianity, they reject that, like Christian Science people. So they reject the idea of Trinity. But in general, all of them have, there are some Unitarian, but they are very few. But basically, Roman Catholic Church and all the other denominations, they believe in Trinity, which is an idea started by Paul. These people call it Saint Paul, but it is an alien idea for them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can, Ya ahl al-kitabi lima tuhajuna fi Ibrahim. So you people of the book, why do you, I had explained this word tuhajuna. Tuhajuna, the root word of that is Hajj. Like in Hajj, like, that's just pilgrimage for us. We go and perform. But in Hajj, we chant the kalma and all that. And this is a loud noise during Hajj that, we say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So all this chanting and all that, this is associated with Hajj. That means chanting or not, But here the tahajju means arguing loudly. So this is tahajju means that, I do not believe in your ideology, or somebody in a loud voice say, your ideas are. So this is called tahajju, or arguing loudly. So why do you argue about Ibrahim alayhi salam? وَمَا أُنزِلَتِ التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ إِلَّا مِنْ بَعْدِهِ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Why do you argue about Ibrahim alayhi salam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying that this Torah and Injil, they came later, because Torah was revealed to Musa alayhi salam when he led the Exodus out of Egypt, and he went to Mount Tor and meditated there do the chilla for 40 days. Only then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the Torah, and Injil was revealed to Isa alayhi salam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning, but on Ibrahim alayhi salam, there were some scriptures, not a complete book, but there were some scriptures that was revealed to Ibrahim alayhi salam. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving an argument to Muslims that ask them, why do you, because they do believe in Ibrahim alayhi salam, but their concept is totally different, because they do not have the complete knowledge of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Because Ibrahim alayhi salam with his son, they were the one who built Kaaba. But if you ask Jew, what is Kaaba, they would not know, because they do not have that part of history or that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that why do you argue about Ibrahim alayhi salam? Because they do not have any complete knowledge of that. So a Jew would not know what Kaaba is, because they did not know, they only know the history that was passed on to them from Ishaq alayhi salam. Or they would know about the temple of Suleiman, Heikal Suleimani, which was built by Hazrat Suleiman alayhi salam, the son of Dawood alayhi salam. But if you realize, it is of much later time, not of Abrahamic time. So this is what is being إِلَّا أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. So why don't you ponder over it? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ha antum haula'i hajajtum fima lakum bihi ilman falam tuhajuna fima laysa lakum bihi ilman wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, telling them to ponder. Why would you argue about something they do not have any knowledge? Because they do not have the complete knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Allah has the complete knowledge and He has revealed it. Because Quran is the complete knowledge, and one of the qualities of Quran is it is mubin. Mubin means one that explains. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is explaining it, and explaining is to Habib Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So everything, all the previous prophets that were sent, Nabi Karim sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, given that knowledge about Ibrahim alayhi salam, that part of Ibrahim alayhi salam that is associated with his son Ismail alayhi salam, the building of Kaaba, his time in Mecca, and where Maqam Ibrahim and all that. So Jewish or the Christian do not have any of those knowledge. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, why are you arguing about those things that you do not have any knowledge? You have some knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does mention, which was given to them through Torah and Injil. But you do not have knowledge about Ibrahim alayhi salam's Makki life and what so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again is because since Ibrahim alayhi salam is a figure that is respected and revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. This is so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning Ma kana Ibrahim Yahudin wala Nasrani. So Ibrahim alayhi salam was neither a Jew nor he was a Christian. Walakin kana hanifan muslima. Rather, he was a Muslim. Muslim means a person who had bow his head to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wama kana min al mushrikin. And he was not an idol worship. So what is a tragedy that Ibrahim alayhi salam, his title was Bud Shikan. Like, his main mission, like he sacrificed everything because he propagated the Tawheed or oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the previous chapters, we have discussed how it happened that there were in the Babylon, there was a big temple. And when they went for their festival to the ground, Ibrahim alayhi salam went to the temple and smashed all the small idols. And there was a big idol and he had his hands stretched out. So what he did, he gathered pieces of all the small idols and put it in the hand of that big idol. And the same hammer that he had took to smash all that, he put it on the shoulder of that big idol. And so Ibrahim alayhi salam, not only he smashed all those idols because that was his title, Bud Shikan, or means the idol breaker, but he was also giving a thought, like a school of invitation to thought. So when these people came and they see that all the idols smashed up, so he says that, Ibrahim, did you do that? So Ibrahim alayhi salam said, no, I didn't do that. It was a big idol. You see, even there's a hammer on the shoulder of this big idol. So they say, how can this idol, lifeless idol, can smash those other idols? So he says, why would you worship that? So he not only break those idols, but so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that he was not a mushrik. And how come if you go to some Christian church, like you can find all kind of idols, idol of Bibi Maryam, idol of Isa alayhi salam, and all those angels and all that. So they are going very against the teachings of Ibrahim alayhi salam. They tell them the people that we are one of the Abrahamic religion, but Ibrahim alayhi salam, despise all the idol worshipping, all the shirk, because he was a mushrik. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that if you believe in Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was not a mushrik. So why would you? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna ulil nasi bi Ibrahim allazina tabahu. So closest people to Ibrahim alayhi salam, or the faith of Ibrahim alayhi salam, or are those people, وَحَازَ النَّبِيُّ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, those people who believe in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Wallahu waliyul mu'minin, and Allah is the friend of the mu'minin. So those people now, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam position with all the previous prophet, that during the Miraj, Isra and Miraj, when Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went to the very same area that Sulaiman Alayhi Salam had built, the temple, the temple of the Hikal of Sulaimani, that's almost about around that area. Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam led the prayer for all the prophets. He's Imam al-Anbiya, and he did that. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is saying, now those people who are closest to Abrahamic faith are the one who believe in Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Those people who have accepted Islam. So, وَدَّتْ طَائِفَةٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ لَوْ يُضَلِّلُكُمْ. So, this word, what that I would like to, what that means, the wish or they would love to do something. So, one of the divine names of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is Wadud. Wadud is the root word is that means loving. So, love. Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is the loving, the God who loves His creation. So, what that is the same word, the love. So, what that Taifatum? Taif means a group of people. So, this is also used in Urdu. Like, if a delegation come from a diplomatic delegation, we say that Taifa came. Taifa means a group of people. So, what the Taifa, a group of people wish or they would love. Min ahal al-kitabi law yudallunukum. So, a group of Christians, they will love to misguide you. So what that means? Love. Taifata means group. So what that means? A group of people will love to misguide you. And wama yudilluna illa anfusam. They would not misguide anybody but themselves. Wama yushurun. So they would not misguide anybody but themselves, but they do not have any concept of that. So they do not perceive it rather. Ya ahlal kitabi lam takfuruna bi ayatillahi wa antum tashhadun. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is saying that, do not reject my tokens or my ayat, my verses, and wa antum tashhadun, and you have seen it. So this is like just as out of arrogance. Like a lot of people, sometimes they recognize that truth. Most of the time they recognize that truth, but they do not have courage to accept it. And such was the case, because as was the delegation that had come from Najran, so they knew the truth. Otherwise, if they were so confident, they will go ahead with this mubahala, in which they say, okay, if we are the lying, have a curse upon us. But they got scared off, because their own leaders say that if we do that, we will all become apes and monkeys. So do not do that. So deep down, there was a thought that, we will, this is the truth. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is mentioning them, is inviting them that, you are the one who are witnessing. Ya ahl al-kitabi lima talbisuna al-haqqa bil-batil. So do not mix the truth with falsehood, and do not hide what is truth. Taktumun means do not hide, and do not hide that wa antum ta'lamun, and you know better. So as I said, Ibrahim alayhi salam, his teachings were initially when Ibrahim alayhi salam's son Ismail alayhi salam in the Arabian Peninsula, he was the one who became the Matawali or custodian of Kaaba. And after that, when he passed away, his father-in-law, he had taken care of the Kaaba, and one by one they came until there was one custodian who became the custodian of Kaaba. His name was Umar al-Lahmi. Umar al-Lahmi, this is the one who, he was the first person who gave up the Abrahamic religion and started idol worship in the Kaaba. And this is how the Muslims, or the Deen Ibrahimi that was practiced in Arabian Peninsula, they deviated, and this is how idol worshipping and paganism started in the Arabian Peninsula. But there were different religions, because some tribes had, in the south, some tribes were Jews, some tribes were had converted to Christianity, and even in the northern side, some tribes, they were. So in Mecca, mostly people were pagan, but isolated people were thing. And such was the case, was the cousin of Bibi Khadija, Warqa bin Nawfal. He was tired of idol worship. He had converted to Christianity, and he had a very good knowledge of Bible, Old Testament, New Testament. And when Bibi Khadija took Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to his cousin, who was very old at that time, he did not have any hesitation, and because they had all kind of signs from the Bible that he's indeed the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so he had no problem recognize Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as the Nabi Allah. So inshallah we will end here. If there's any questions or comments, I will welcome that.
Assalamu alaikum,
Walaikum salam.
you said that this Mubahala, and you mentioned